Hello, everyone, and welcome. Welcome to all of you. Thank you for being here this evening with myself and Deborah. And it's kind of an ominous day in the world as we are seeing what's unfolding over in the Middle East and in the political system and all the things that have happened actually since last week. So we're going to talk about that today. We're going to talk a little bit about the numerology of the year is a 7. And Deborah's going to talk a little bit about that and maybe about how we all need to take some responsibility for things that have happened and will continue to happen and how we need to live. So I'm going to let you explain about the numerology of the year, but we're not doing any numerology today as far as readings go. Hi, Kevin. Hi, Karen.
Hey, Kevin.
Yeah.
So how I reconcile with this, because I'm with everyone else here. You know, I get steamed, I get scared, I get depressed, all of that. But when you back up far enough to see what's happening, it kind of aligns you and say, oh, now I get it. And it's a 7 universal year for the world, not just America.
Correct. Yeah.
And so that when you're looking at the 7, that means that you are aligning to who you are at soul level with ethics and morals.
Right.
So, I laugh at the politics, you know, when someone says, oh, yeah, I out loud, I'm for this, but they really vote this other way. Being duplicitous this year is going to get you in trouble. People are terrible liars. And it's showing. Their lies are showing.
Oh, yeah. We are seeing
absurd stuff is showing. And that's evidence of someone who's not aligned or entertaining the thought that they need to align to their ethics and morals when they look at this. And I mentioned earlier behind the scenes that this thing is happening in Israel, Ukraine, this craziness here.
Yes.
We are all being run by a minority. The war is fought by
that just blows me away. Yeah. Yeah.
And you just educated me with the Palestine. There's bad boys of the Palestine, the Proud Boys and things like that. They're the ones, the loudest ones in the room are saying, we're going to fight you, and doesn't matter the casualties. The same thing here in America. We have, oh gosh, I'll remember his name. He's a political, was a Republican writer, and he calls it the Taliban of the Congress. The few that are Taliban Republicans that are just riled up, wanting nothing but anger.
Yeah.
Now we have, isn't it fishy though? Isn't it fishy that we have this happening in our Congress, and then we look at both of those things that are springing up all in a 7 year? It's the call. It calls to all of us to align to what our morals are and ethics are, because when we boil it down, the things that are unethical and not in alignment is going to get ridiculous. And after all, that's what Congress is completely ridiculous.
It is.
So what do we do from that? We do a YouTube channel and we talk about it and we wring our hands and we can't sleep at night. We become depressed, and the whole kind of a dull day after you hear something like that and see it on the internet. But if it doesn't go, whatever survives this 7 year with our ethics and morals is going to take hold next year. Don't get scared. Don't get scared when I say that. I know. I want to hurry up and make it better, because this all happens as part of yourself. The 7 is a singular, anointing God, and your ethics and morals. So even when you look at someone and think, God, I could have done better on that hair. I mean, the judgments that we have, if we really clean it up, if we really clean up our thinking, we can evolve into that. And all of a sudden, when you defend someone or want to talk politics with someone who doesn't believe any of this is going on, your words will be perfectly understood. Each word will be perfect, but it's because we can't come from fear on that.
Right.
We have to come with what it is. And these little pockets of loud people are getting the press, and
Right.
it's and getting getting it feels like they're getting the better of us, but we aren't going to go down that road of feeling bad and sad. And I mean, we're aware of what's happening, but just going around in a circle like that, say a prayer.
Right.
You
Absolutely.
know, keep in prayer, and you'll. Oh, I'm so
I
sorry
know.
that happened.
I know.
So
The hardest part is that hearing some of the things that have happened to some of the people there, and it's exactly like the Holocaust, and it's another attempt at wiping out the Jewish ancestry. Honest to God. I also know that there are people in Palestine that don't have anything to do with Hamas, and they are innocent too. But now they're going to go in and get rid of them basically, because I think Israel's on its way. But I was saying to Deborah that I heard earlier today, and then she knew exactly what I was going to say when I said it, but that one of the pieces of documents could have been a document about how to get around the Iron Dome, which is what they use in Israel in order to be able to see, because this was unexpected. This was totally unexpected. And that the reason it could have been in one of the documents that he gave it to Vlad, and then Vlad, gave it to the Iranians or whatever. And now they're trying to use propaganda to say that the money Joe released is being used to fund this, and that's not true. The money is still sitting in Qatar. It's that money for those hostages that he released, and it was all for humanitarian aid, but they haven't even gotten it yet. The Iranians haven't even gotten it yet, so they didn't have this money to do anything. So then you have the guy last week. You kind of put the pieces together. The guy from Australia last week, who was told by Trump how to get around, how the nuclear subs work, and how, they everything about that. And then that went to 45 different other people all over the planet, which we don't even know what or who. And so you did say you kind of thought Jack Smith knows this, that it's
all of
probably in those
our
documents.
intelligence knows that. In fact, the reason I feel that way is because even when Trump was in office, they hesitated sharing everything. They stopped giving him morning briefings.
Yes. Well, he didn't want to go to them either.
Yeah, well, that was lucky for us.
Oh my God.
Lucky for us. So when he saw these paperworks and decided to read a few words, he went, "Oh, this is pretty good," not knowing any background or consequences it could cause. But we voted him in, oh, yes.
We did vote him in. She says she just corrected somebody who was sprouting that crap about the money in Iran, because you know why? It was in Newsweek magazine of all things, and it was the headline. And so, there is fake news out there, but it's not the fake news we've been told it is, if you know what I mean. It's like there are people planted out there to bring it in, like Tucker Carlson used to do. He just comes up with an idea, and then because if you repeat something over and over again, people believe it.
But I would just want to shine the light again on that, because we have gotten desensitized because there's so much coming at us all the time. So the headlines have to be they call it clickbait on YouTube. It's against the rules to do clickbait, but it's not against, apparently, for Newsweek to do it. But
oh my goodness, she says it's probably owned by China now. Well, that might be very true. I was saying it last night when I was doing my show about the consciousness and the vibration, that in order to keep people at a low level and angry, you just keep showing negative stuff over and over and over, and saying it over again, and spending time, and it keeps all of our vibrations low. And so when you said it was, quote, our fault, that we elected Ding Dong when he was in there.
That sounds horrible. Did I say those?
Well, it is a collective, it's a societal issue. right? It wasn't like I didn't personally vote for him. You probably didn't either, but we are a society. And so,
Yeah,
yeah.
and we do this tribalism, and I can just remind everyone
Mhm.
at the
Mhm.
2016 election,
Mhm.
Bernie Sanders and Hillary were neck and neck, and all the young people, including myself, I'm a young person.
Me
I kind
too.
of like Bernie,
I
and
loved him. Yeah.
yeah, it was
Yeah.
really great.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, I don't know how many people are going to remember this, that when Bernie dropped out, he did not readily
Right.
invite his followers behind Hillary. And that
Right.
was a strategic move. I love Bernie, not cutting him down. It's just that, and he had a momentum in a certain direction. I
Yeah.
don't fault him.
Yeah. Yeah.
But instead of us seeing, we were angry Bernie dropped out, being so, it's all about us, right? That we're just going to vote for the loudest guy in the room.
Right. Right. Right.
So, and that's what Newsweek
I
is
do
all
know
about.
the DNC told him, the DNC said, we're not going to get behind you, so forget it. And that's why he ended up having to drop out. And there were a lot of people that turned their backs on him at that point.
You
And
mean
because,
on the other side? Well, you
well,
mean the
in the
establishment?
party,
Oh.
yeah, they thought he was too radical, and and all
Well,
that stuff.
then
But
you see how we parlay that, because when emotion gets in there, you say, well,
yeah,
the chips fall where they may, and
yeah,
that was and we listened, because he did not get back in 2020.
right,
We listened,
right,
and
right.
and because he got so ridiculous,
Whoops.
people are waking up. I saw
Yeah.
somebody there.
Mary says they stole it from Bernie. I don't care what anyone says. I believe he scared the establishment. I believe that's true.
Oh yeah,
I think, it was too radical. Yeah, he was too radical.
yeah,
Absolutely.
because the young people outnumber all of us boomers. I mean, right? Well, maybe
Yes.
not, but I mean that would be a powerful force for sure.
Yes. Well, it is interesting that uh, Taylor Swift, who I
Yes.
don't really care for myself, but I know she's got a lot of people love her music, but she's had 35,000 people a day signing up to vote. She's got this
Yeah.
whole movement going with the younger generation, and I think that's fabulous.
Yeah,
I
and that,
do. I do.
look
Yeah.
at her ratio. I mean, she's
Yes.
probably with her music and her. I did see a little clip on, I don't know, when I was surfing on TV, where she was backstage with her parents, I believe, and she really wanted to say something out loud that was definitive
Mhm.
politically, and Daddy was saying, "No, that's not good. That's but." Then she worked at, she goes, I'm going to do something. And apparently this is it, to register to vote.
Mhm.
So,
Yeah. Yeah, and there are other people that are doing other things, but
mhm.
everybody always says, "Oh, what do they know? They're just an actor or whatever." But they use their voice to
Yeah.
bring up the vibration.
Isn't
And
that right?
I think you're so right about this whole thing, though. This year, as a 7-year, as a spiritual year,
Yeah.
we are being tested over and over again,
Mhm.
of for our ethics and our values and our belief systems,
And critical
and
thinking.
our
Yep.
critical thinking skills. Absolutely. There's a lot of people that will never even think about anything but their own opinion. But
Right. Yeah, we
yeah,
are a young,
yeah,
a young human species.
young human
But
species. That's right.
yeah,
That's right.
that is true.
So I heard today, I don't know if anybody else heard this, that Kevin McCarthy went, and I saw him actually get behind some podium and start talking. And of course, we have been disabled because he was pushed out by, and of course, who do they blame? They blame the Democrats because they didn't keep him. And of course, he turned his back on the Democrats, and no one remembers any of that. But now he's saying he may rerun.
Oh,
And yeah, so I wouldn't be surprised to hear that. And I'm wondering if he's going to get some Democratic backing, because if he does, I think he would be, because look at how many of what do they have, 190 or something people in the Republican Party voted for him, or 200 or whatever it was.
oh,
So he
wait, I'm
just
not streaming this. I got to stream this to my audience. I'm sorry. I'm just going to.
Okay. Okay.
Sorry
But
about that.
so I did hear that, and I also heard that what was it? Oh, that some ambassadors for some of the countries, including Israel, have not been certified by Congress yet. And we already know that Tommy Tuberville is holding up the military. And all of these things are very curious to me.
Mhm.
Like all the machinations behind the scenes. I think we're going to find something out.
Right,
You know?
we are. Can you
Yeah.
highlight Cat Mama? Cat Mama at 512.
Okay.
Just she brings up a good point.
All right.
But
Okay.
she says, but Hillary did not lose due to Bernie, and that is true. She won the popular vote and was cheated on the electoral college. Yes.
Yeah.
Thank you, Cat Mama, for bringing that up.
Yep.
Right on. Because it's not Bernie and Hillary and all. It's a hi, Kevin.
Yeah.
The vote to save Democrats if the roles were reversed.
Oh, they would not. No.
Not.
Yeah.
So
no, they don't. They're never bipartisan for any reason. And
they become that.
Yeah. I agree with you, Kevin. They absolutely wouldn't. I don't know that we'll even get any. The Democrats just did what the Republicans would have done if it was Hakeem Jeffries that was, or whoever, if it was our person. But honestly, we really need to. There's so much that needs to be cleaned up. And then you got Menendez and his little scandal.
Oh,
I know.
I'm preparing a video about all of these actors. I mean, there's certain ones that fall in their certain personal year, and it's like an example of what happens in a 5 personal year, but that's for later.
Okay. So if McCarthy had come across the aisle and made a deal with the Democrats, yes, he would.
Yeah,
yes,
he would. I think he would. Yeah, absolutely.
And I'm wondering if he's going to, that's why I say I'm wondering if he's going to try to do that in the background. He's going to go to them and say, look, I can do this.
Nobody's going to trust him. Even if he goes up to him and says, oh, I'll be on your side now, but he's going to trust him. See, that's the thing. Does anybody know off the top of their heads what era or year or decade or what it was when government thought there were a lot of communists?
That was the 50s. It was the 1950s.
It was the 50s.
Yes. Right after the war. Mm-hmm.
That's right. So we had Nazis in our government. We really did, and it was everyone thought it was a witch hunt, but
I know.
But because of the higher angels are, the better angels in our government, they were overrun. Now this is, I'm sure we're going to get on the other side of this, but it's going to take a lot longer to straighten it out. But we have been infiltrated before, and we survived it.
Yep. So there was what really surprised me was, and I never thought about this. Apparently, there's only 9 million people that live in Israel, and so I think they're 1,200 or 1,500 or something are dead. So they took the equivalency of the United States and our population, and it would be like we lost 33,000 people. So you can see it's a large piece of our population, and I really do see it as being their 9/11. I do. I see it as it's definitely just genocide. But the McCarthy thing really, I remember when McCarthy was made speaker, and the first thing I thought of was, oh, Jesus, is this going to be another McCarthy era? And Laura says the McCarthy era has never ended. It keeps coming back. It keeps coming back because we keep repeating the same stupid shit over and over again.
Yeah. But don't you think, so in theory, I'm going to toss something out at you. I believe that when someone doesn't learn their lesson on whatever topic it is, whatever their spiritual journey is, then what they can't give up gets ridiculous, gets absolutely asinine. So so I think that's what, maybe this is the last gasp for our tribalism in America, maybe, because it gets, each time it comes in and cycles in, like the Tea Party. Newt Gingrich and the Tea Party started this thing, but along the way, it just took some people to stand up and say, no more.
Well,
and
yeah. Think about it, though. And I wasn't following politics as closely, but I guess John Boehner was taken out. He stepped down because they wouldn't do anything with him. Then Paul Ryan stepped down because they wouldn't do anything with him. And so this is just like another, because they don't have that really radical agenda like that small group, Tea Party people or whatever they were. Then they make it miserable for anybody that's trying to coalesce a team to
there's so many more ethical people that saw this and kept quiet for their own careers. And so
well, the other thing is Jim Jordan being one of the people that is up for the speakership. Well, first of all, we call him Jim GYM because he didn't take care of his gymnast. He saw abuse and heard abuse and didn't do anything about it. But then the people have been saying that he was very instrumental within Congress. He was like one of the number one people who was working with the 1-6 stuff. I wonder what you think about that. Do you think he was involved?
As far as conspiracy goes, as him being behind the bad stuff?
He was on the phone all the time with the president, and he was doing all kinds of stuff behind the scenes.
See, that's what I mean about being ridiculous. That interview, he says, "Did you talk to?" And he just went all over himself, and so that's when it gets really obvious. It's really obvious who is the bad actors. And so I do believe he's there. Now he's got this year for him, his numbers look in favor, because in astrology you favor, your planets or whatever.
So Jim looks in favor this year? Oh dear, really? Okay.
That's all right. It's just not everyone can go to jail at the same time. We don't have enough space.
Well, and right now he is the head of the Judiciary Committee, so that would put him in favor, right? Because he was made that person.
Well, that would be, he's giving, God is giving him so many opportunities to do better. That's the bottom line. All of us.
All of us.
All of us. When I blow something, when I could have been nicer, I think, that was a missed opportunity to be a better human. But that's in my consciousness because just like everybody here who's attracted to this channel, that's in their consciousness too. But apparently, how does next year look? It's the news tightens for him. So the cycling of a personal year starts moving around and changing to the next number around September. Now, if you look at your own personal life, September was when you lost people, when you gained people, when you lost a job or gained a job, or there were just switches. Everything switches because it's that void. Of course, that's another term for astrology, but it's like we're moving into the 8 personal globally, the 8 personal year. So I forget what year Jim Jordan, but Jim isn't, we're first name Jim.
Oh, yes.
Jim and I discussed everything, and I encouraged him to,
Smarten up, buddy.
But he's still riding the horse, the bad horse, the dark horse. He's still choosing to do that, not giving up what doesn't work, just like Trump is a 9 personal year for him. And because he didn't give it up and hangs on, it's going to go into the next 9-year cycle in jail probably. But no, Jim Jordan is heading for a bad time, because it's like when the Congress is going or the judge is speaking and he declares something and they put the mallet down, that's what an 8 is. That's what an 8 universal year is. So it's almost like the music stops.
Yep.
And whoever isn't aligned with their best self or try
doesn't get a chair. Doesn't get a chair.
Yeah, they get a chair. Yeah, they don't get a chair. So it's I always thought, and then there's the 9 and but I won't get ahead of that.
Mary, you're so right. To sin by silence when they should protect makes coward. We have a lot of cowards. We absolutely in the world, we have a lot of cowards. There are a lot of people that turn their backs on other people. And
it's survival. It used to be survival. Yeah. It used to be survival, but now it's more, your career, your standing. Yeah. And that's, but I don't want anybody to be.
Kevin says he's in one of the later groups or wave in trouble for January. And that's exactly what, we can't put everybody in jail the same year. That's what you do.
That's time to spread it out.
and Deborah, you crack me up, Jennifer.
Oh, Jennifer.
That's great. That's great.
Oh, gosh.
So are you, any thoughts at all about whether or not we're going to have a speaker by Wednesday?
Oh, by Wednesday?
Yeah. Let's make Akeem Jeffries speaker,
That's going to be a stretch. Then we really won't get anything done. But let me see my cards.
Okay. And the other thing I was thinking about was if Jim Jordan gets in there, which God forbid, please, he's third in line to the presidency. He's crazy. He didn't even pass the bar. He doesn't know anything about anything. He's
he's going in and making a fuss at everything, but it says no. Kevin says it's no too. Not by Wednesday. I don't know if by what I've got, I don't know if it's going to be soon that we get a speaker, because the way my cards are looking, there's not going to be anyone to stand up and defend their position.
Right.
Yeah, it's just going to be a free-for-all. It's going to be a very difficult time for all of those little kids. Got a page of wands reverse, the little devils, slick willies, as you say.
Yeah.
Slick willie.
Oh my God. Oil Painter says Lauren Boebert and gym shorts.
Yes. She got in again. I couldn't believe it. I didn't douse on her or anything. I didn't think to do it because I just assumed in my humanness that she would be booted out, that people would see the ridiculous.
Yeah. Well, yeah. And that one little corner of Colorado has, is red wherever she lives, but they have redistrict. And I think Adam Frisch, who did run against her last time, will win this time. After all her shenanigans at Beetlejuice, that was a little bit too much. But I get that there's going to be fists flying, and I think there were fists flying when McCarthy was kicked out, or the reason that they walked away from it is because fists would fly. And if you remember, when Kevin McCarthy was running and Matt Gaetz and a few others wouldn't vote for him when we did that 15 vote thing, there were guys that had to be held back because they wanted to punch him. So they're trying to find the right gem. And look, it's the house. I mean, it's the home. It's the house. Yeah. Isn't that something else? Yeah. Wow. Oh my God. Well, Laura, you say you wish Jim Jordan would do it to show how incompetent he is, but he's been doing it in the Judiciary Committee. And it's really funny because Swalwell keeps trolling him by putting up a sign that says it's only, 618 days since he had a subpoena that he never came to Congress.
Right.
Yeah. So
right. Yeah. And Laura, I get you. Because if it's not ridiculous enough now, because when Bobart got back in, I'm thinking, we got a little ways to go here, but it'll shake out because the ridiculous, even So here's a good example. DeSantis, in the beginning of the year, of a 7 global year, he was saying he's going to do this with books and abortion and all that stuff. As we've gone through the year, it's gotten more violent and ridiculous. He said he was slitting throats, and he was too busy to do something because he was overseeing an execution. Everything has gotten so ridiculously loud with him. Yeah. But I got to tell you guys, promise you this, that this is the top. He's at the top of his game. What is he, in the mid 40s or something? This is
44.
it. 44. Yeah. This is it for him. The next is going to be like owning a restaurant or being in corporate work. I mean, I do not believe he has a future in.
Did you know what he used to be? A JAG lawyer. The military lawyers. That's what he did before. I had no idea. And he has never had good energy. He would go, before he would date a woman, he would say, okay, so what do you wear out? And I want you to be able to talk to me about certain topics. And he had like a checklist. He had like a little black book, and he got the yes woman in his wife, Casey, I think her name is.
You know what's interesting? She is the same life path number. And yeah, a little different personal year, but they're the same life path number, which is 3. And this is it. And 3s are so cool. If you're a 3 life path, you have an opportunity this lifetime to just have a really cool time. I mean, I promise you. But if you're having trouble or struggles, and everybody has them, but if it's ongoing, it's because you have forgotten about creativity, right? And they're both very, very creative. And so she can spin a story in the news because she's a news person, and he can he can make up stories all he wants. What's this that we saw here?
Claudia says he was a judge advocate in the JAG, when he was in JAG.
I wonder what that is.
I'm
Cat
not
Mama.
sure.
We got to have Cat Mama on.
Yeah, she's good at what she does. That's for sure. I don't know if you saw the advertisement, but when he was running again for governor, she came on an advertisement that said, God, and then on the 7th or the 8th day, God made Ron DeSantis.
And isn't that creative?
Yeah, but really boy, is that sanctimony. Oh my God. That's so crazy.
Yeah, but it's getting ridiculous. There is someone, when she said that voted for him, that isn't going to vote for him now, because that's crossing the line. We always think, they're going to cross the line, but who knows? Kevin.
I feel the energy around Scalise, however, I feel the MAGA holdouts will probably vote for him only if there's a motion to vacate. Oh, of course.
Well, let's read that. Let's see what he's saying here. I feel the energy.
I would think he should get it because he's Kevin. What do you think? Read with us while we're doing this, and tell us if you think that that some of the Democrats might back him. I don't think I know he's a typical. He doesn't really work across the aisle, but it's almost as if they need to pick somebody who's a better, not the worst one,
a medium bad guy.
Not Scalise? Okay. Not
no,
Scalise.
I don't have Scalise in my quiver either.
Oh.
So,
all right. So I get an airplane that goes down into a hole.
Oh boy, yeah.
I got the wild woman though. I'm wondering if they're going to try maybe Nancy Mace. She's the one that voted.
I was just thinking Scalise has a girlfriend. That's what I was thinking.
Oh no, I don't think so. They wouldn't care anyway.
I have Scalise. I stay inside the lights.
Okay, all right.
That's a good rumor. But
I have a feeling McCarthy will. I think if he can make a plan with the Democrats, then he will.
That'll be fun to think about. But Scalise has spent his currency. And I think it was behind, favor for me, favor for you type of thing. And I don't think
He's not aligned with
Well,
the stars.
things can change, he could be visited by 3 ghosts. It could be like Christmas and he has a change of heart. I believe in that. Yep.
Do you think that Trump is supposed to show up, tomorrow to the Capitol? He's supposed to show up at the Capitol to try to make
There he
Jim
is.
Jordan. And I don't think he should be allowed in the Capitol.
Right. He's too dangerous.
Yeah, he is.
So it would I think he's going to give it a try, but it's very nefarious. I don't know how far it gets, because Trump has handlers.
Yes.
He's got his attorneys, and at the 11th hour they can say, I'm walking off if you don't stay from this. But I see him actually flying there, but I don't think he'll show up. That's an interesting
So
read.
here's something my husband told me, and we talked about it last night on the show, but this really is quite disturbing. Trump had his lawyers use artificial intelligence, which we have out there now, to take all of the wording that for votes that the top 5 conservative judges have put in any of their rulings, and they just put it into AI. And what they've done is they've fashioned he's trying to get it at the Supreme Court. They've fashioned this document that essentially says that the president is in charge, or he doesn't say he's the king, but pretty much everything else is gone. There's nobody else. He's in charge. He's like, he makes all the choices.
And that's how they all feel, is that he's in charge. So this group of judges feel that that's how the Constitution is. So we've got AI. We've got AI and then the Constitution. Please, the Constitution. We do not have a king, and so AI. Now I dig AI. I love AI. It makes.
I don't care for it at all, but I'm a writing teacher, and I think it's very dangerous.
Yeah, but you can't just plug in a prompt and just verbatim do it. In fact, my last book, I wrote my ebook. I wrote right on the cover. None of this book was done by AI, and I believe there's going to be programs to go through. They're starting to happen to where they will identify what is AI and what isn't. But we're.
I hope so. Yeah,
it'll get. It's a Wild West on that.
It's just disturbing to me because I think it is the guy that kind of made it, I guess, or is trying to expand it, has already said that it's going to be very dangerous because you can take your image, let's say, and somebody can open up. Yeah, somebody can open up a YouTube channel, and there's you and your voice saying what it is people think it's you. It's not you. And you can say some really awful, they could program it that way. So that's why I don't care for it. Yeah.
No, I understand that part. There's parts of it I don't like. Creepy. And but as far as being delightfully creative and for people that don't have that, I think it's great. There's some good and bad, but this is when the regulations have to step up. And I did hear him, the inventor of that, and he said, because he unleashed this, right? It's going and it's growing inside of itself because people input like Wikipedia, I guess. And he said that if there was something terrible that started, he would just pull the plug on it, the whole thing. Apparently he has the ability to do that. So he does have ethics. But
Thomas, not Thomas. Who said that they can't? Oh, Claudia. I was talking about DeSantis was a jag, not Jim Jordan. He wouldn't be intelligent enough to do that.
He's not anything.
He's busy wrestling on the ground. Yeah,
that's right.
Yeah. Anyway.
And racing with his sleeves rolled up into the next room to cause some chaos.
We need to work on those laws, Mary. I hope we do, because it is. Jamie, you're right. It's a nightmare for me because I have even seniors in college writing papers for me with no references, and they just put in write a paper about nuclear waste. and they get a paper and they pass it in. And there's no checks and balances on that right now. Whereas if you had something that was plagiarized, there is a plagiarism tool that can be used, but not AI yet. So
Not yet.
yeah,
Not yet.
wow, yeah. We'll have to learn how to watermark our history. Wow.
Well, the thing is, yeah, but the thing is that I was on AI the other day, and there's a button to push for a citation, and I thought, oh, good, I can find out all the citations
Where it came
that
from.
AI used, where it came from. So I clicked it, and all it said was AI developed by AI. That's the citation.
Yeah.
So who knows?
So anybody can program anything they want,
Mhm.
depending on their propaganda or agenda. And so it reminds me a lot of the propaganda that, Germany did during the 30s. And it's scary stuff. Yeah, it does. Yeah. That's true, Laura. You're very true about this. AI makes all perceptions questionable under rule of law. Well, all I can say is if these judges do take the case, because he wanted them to throw out January 6th by saying it was part of his duty to do what he did.
It's not going to work.
And to, yeah. And if we had reasonable people in the Supreme Court, but we have the minority, like you say. So, interesting. Yeah. Wow. Patty, take care of yourself, honey. I hope you're doing better. I'm glad you were here. Thank you for coming. I want to say hi to everybody that's been in the chat. I mean, there's a lot of people in the chat. I usually shout out to everybody, but we kind of, the day I had when I first got on here, and actually Deborah too, the last 2 days have been kind of sad and disturbing with what's been going on. And it just, I think that there's just so much that we don't know yet, but we know. Does that make any sense?
Yeah.
Yeah.
We suspect.
That's right.
Yeah, but the people are going to, I think, if you want to feel better, go on YouTube or on the internet and research Republicans that are no longer Republicans.
The Lincoln
that
Project.
Is so uplifting.
It is.
And so to know that there's a lot of people out there, more people than I thought would be out there saying things. And they never. Charlie Sykes was the one. Charlie Sykes is commentator that's been a journalist that's Republican, pro-Republican, and he's the one who said the Taliban faction of the GOP. Okay, so I want to credit him for that.
Okay. Well, I mean, people like Steve Smith, who in the Lincoln Project and some of the other things that those people have done, and David Jolly out of Florida, who was a Republican congressman at one point, and even the head of the Republican Party, African American guy with glasses, and he comes on sometimes on the shows. He actually absolutely just is gobsmacked that this idiocy continues. He's been that way for 4 or 5 years. So, Jamie, that's good. That's good. A few days, rough day. Yeah, me too, Kevin. It is an exhausting thing, and you don't even have to be watching the news to feel that way, I don't think. But yeah, Michael Steele. Thank you, Wiki. Yes, that's what I'm talking
that's
about.
right. Now I didn't know that.
Yes.
Yeah.
Wow. So many Republicans won't vote. They will not vote Democrat, but they will not vote Trump. I hope they don't vote for other people.
See, and that's why we have a little bit of a problem, because people said, well, okay, I'll vote for a Democrat president, and then I voted Republican all the way down ticket.
Yeah.
And we just have to, see it for what it is. It's we have to do all the way.
There used to be what I would call a reasonable Republican Party. Yeah. They were, they weren't unreasonable like they are now. We had some issues. Even Liz Cheney, they were talking about floating her to be the speaker. And if they had floated that idea 5 years ago, 6 years ago, I would go, oh no, And still, I don't know that I could trust her, you know.
Yeah.
But at the same time, she has really come out and said, you can't have Jim Jordan be that. You can't do this. You can't do that. So she is really standing up for the
Yeah.
typical Republicans. Yeah.
Right. And I don't know if she has enough votes, but that's a good
Mhm.
thought.
Mhm.
But
Yeah. Because you can
imagine.
bring in anybody. You could bring in anybody.
So
So,
we are in despair, and I don't want to run out of time here before I
okay.
address how we can feel about things. So what we can do is in our imagination, if we can imagine what happened in Ukraine with the eastern part of Ukraine, and day after day after day, supposed to be a 3-day war, day after day, it's relentless, right? Imagine
Yes.
being in that. Imagine the Holocaust, year after year after year. So they went through a lot more than what we're going through as America. No one's dropped a bomb, and no one's gonna fling a bomb or anything. But
Mm-hmm.
we see the pain in the rest of the world, and they are fighting for democracy. We
Right.
still have democracy. We got to hold on to it. And I do believe, since it's a 7 universal year, I trust that people are going to have, I don't care what they say on the outside of that voting booth. I believe when they get in there, they're going to do what's right by their heart. And
Well, they did
there's,
last time.
yeah.
We had a lot of people who did last time. But, I know also General Milley was asked something about being with Biden in a meeting and how, was he cogent? Was he able to talk and all that stuff? And of course, I know he's fine, and he's just an older fellow that may forget a few things, or maybe he's got a stutter that he's always had. But Milley says he's very, very astute, compared to the other one. So,
Well, I saw him on when he visited um, Zelensky over in Ukraine. There was a long red carpeted staircase all the way up, and he went up there just the same as that young. I mean, Biden and
yeah.
Zelensky was right,
Yes, he did.
and didn't hold on to the railing. I'd be clutching my chest and gasping for air by the time I got up to the top. Here's our Biden.
Yep.
I think he's an alien, and we're lucky to have him.
I agree. Oh, I love this. Vote your heart and soul connection. Thank you. Yes,
Hey,
absolutely.
yeah,
Absolutely.
that's good.
Um, yes, I thought it was very strange that Robert Kennedy's family, he apparently has announced to be independent, and his family has come out and said, do not vote for him. He's
Right.
crazy.
Yeah.
I was surprised.
We would have
Kennedy,
never seen that we'd never see people, they'd say it behind the scenes, but not in front of
right.
everybody, but they are front and center with that.
Yeah. Yeah, they are.
Sure.
Amanda, you said you like Cornel West. I saw Dr. West probably about 4 or 5 years ago. He came to my college and he spoke, and he's very articulate. He's a brilliant guy, but I think he's like Bernie in that he's too fringy for the established, for the normal person. I think a lot of people wouldn't vote for him for that reason. And so, not that, I mean, if you're educated, he's a professor. He's a brilliant guy. So, it doesn't make any sense. But yeah, Trump wouldn't make it up 3 stairs. That's true. Republicans are flipping on him now because they know he will take their voters. Oh, okay. So Republican candidates are flipping on RFK. Is that what you're saying? Okay. Okay.
Oh,
Yeah.
yeah, he just made himself, he just
Yeah.
made himself a target. That's right.
Independent. Yeah. Yep.
Independent.
That's right. That's right.
Trails
And
for
that happened, actually, didn't that happen? Now this is going back a ways, okay?
Yeah.
But didn't that happen with that billionaire businessman from
Yes. I
Texas?
can't remember his name.
Ross Perot.
Oh, yeah, yeah, from
Yeah.
Sam's Club.
Yeah.
Yeah, it split the ticket. This is why Democrats have not been able to get over too much and in a little while because of the third party stuff.
So as a collective, this year you said was a 7, and we have to get through it. We still have several months to go, but it's about our ethics, it's about our values and our beliefs. So as we move into 2024, when it's an
Mhm.
8, and that's a
Mhm.
collective global, what do you
Mhm.
see for the collective with regard to the number 8?
I believe that what's happening now will take hold. Don't lose sleep over that, please. But the wheel of fortune,
Mhm.
spins,
Yeah.
and so there is a certain amount of momentum with the anger and volatility of the world right now, and
Mhm.
at least in three spots. But and so there's going to be a bit of an anchoring to that, and it's going to. But then soon after the huge download of the 8, which is going to be like January, February, March, soon
Mhm.
after that,
Mhm.
then what doesn't work, what isn't paying off. So
Mm.
even like people who are spies and they're not getting enough in return, that's when the money dries up. So
Mhm.
to put it in
Mhm.
personal terms, if you're a 7 personal year, that means you're a terrible liar. You got to tell the truth, and you got to
Yeah.
be
Yeah.
good, and you're going to be tested this year because of it.
Okay.
Well, next year, your beautiful self that has come through all this
Oh.
alignment is going to start cashing in, kind of it's anchored
Because
in.
8 is the number of money, isn't that right?
Yes,
Yeah,
it's
yeah.
money, but it's also your body, it's your home,
Mhm.
it's
Okay.
everything that's tangible. It's the pentacle suit. And so that's when you start seeing what your heart is having faith with. And
Yeah.
then you start seeing that come true in real life. So I
Uh-huh.
believe it's just going to be a little tough coming up here, but it'll be entertaining. Not the wars, I'm sorry, but it'll be
No, not
entertaining
that.
for our Congress people to just get more and more ridiculous, and because they need that attention, and you get tapped
Yeah, I
out,
think
right?
it's part of a politician is ego and all about money and all about power. And when you do find somebody that really has a heart, like Jamie Raskin or somebody like that, and then they're picked on because they're too woke or whatever it is, it's the fear factor, I think, that comes in and makes that a problem,
A fear
that
factor from who?
a fear, well,
How,
it's a fear factor from the GOP or from people that don't have any intelligence, let's put it that way.
oh,
They're
right.
not
Well,
savvy. They're not
yeah,
savvy. It's a fear factor that they think these people, well, they used to say that Barack Obama was, and he was such an articulate man. He could speak about things for a long time. And then you get, who to go in there he can't say anything. He just pouts and it's and if somebody asks him a question about something, he can't answer it because he doesn't know.
right.
He doesn't have that
I don't
intelligence.
think he knew a whole lot in office,
Uh-huh.
the
No, he
secret
didn't.
stuff,
Well,
until it was time to leave the White House, and he just packed everything up. And
pack
after that,
everything up.
because
Yeah,
it will pay off for him, that type of thing. And
that's right, because it's all about the money. But this has been something that's been going on for a very long time, anti-intellectualism. So they only brought it back and they gave it a new name. But there are people out there that will say, people that have an education or that are smart or that are savvy or whatever, they're terrible people. They don't know. They're what's the word? Liberal. They're too liberal. That kind of thing. So it's
well,
just another iteration of that. Yeah.
again, there are plenty there are plenty of, like, with COVID, and so there's plenty of Republican small business owners
Hmm.
that got broke because some won and some people won and some people didn't in
That's right.
the money
That's right.
shuffle, and they
Yeah.
had to use social services. And they
Uh-huh.
have admitted to people that have talked to me that they're never voting Republican again because they didn't realize social services were so valuable in a person's life.
Right. Right.
So
And yet they advocate, the GOP advocates for anti-abortion and so forth and so on. But then they cut federal programs for children and mothers, and they don't want anybody on the dole. But those people were pregnant, and maybe they didn't want that baby, but they had it because they couldn't get an abortion. So it's like this cyclic thing. And Laurie, you're right about RFK and shooting themselves in the foot. They shoot themselves in the foot all the time. What is it? The guy that the old joke about the cowboy that was laying in bed, and he looked down and there was an eye looking at him, and he shot it, and it was his toe. Just craziness. Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
Thank you, Sharon.
The Bumble ban. Yeah. Oh yes. Thanks, Sharon, for sharing that.
I appreciate that.
So
I forgot to share this with my.
Oh, you didn't. You can go ahead and post it probably in your community board. Maybe.
Yeah, I can do something with it.
Yeah. So, any words of wisdom before we leave? We got about 5 minutes left.
I'm going to ask Spirit what they have to do.
Okay. Absolutely.
All right. What's interesting? Ooh. So, just like I had mentioned, that there are going to be some bad actors, but there are good actors. And so when you start getting sad, understand this is a process, just like the people who are involved with the Holocaust or in Ukraine or in whatever other hardship that went on for years where they were persecuted. It does lift. It does lift. And we have been, a lot of us have been terribly uncomfortable with the world since 2016.
I would say.
We're tired of all of it. We're shocked. We're disappointed in humankind. We kind of lose faith in humanity. But the loudest one in the room gets the news, gets the headline. So remember, the loudest ones in the room are all the bad actors. So there's plenty of good things happening. And if you align and do what you feel is true, you can't go wrong. And
live your truth.
Yep.
I think we have been in a period of collective PTSD. And it's been one thing after another. And we, especially with the pandemic and other things, but I ended up pulling a card, and this really speaks to me because this is a brand new deck I got, but I love it. It says, the wound is the place where the light enters.
I love that saying.
The strength to carry on. Look at that.
Oh, so, it's beautiful.
So it's reminding us that, yes, we've all been walking wounded. We're walking wounded, but we can let the light come in and then take it and shine it out across everybody else.
And have it fill us up.
That's right. And find the blessings in things and feel the gratitude for the things that work. Yeah.
Another thing is that I forget who said this, some stoicism, some people see good and do good. Some people see bad and do good. Some people need to get in to measure for themselves what's good and what's bad. So we're kind of the last one as a collective. And so, but all of us that see good and see bad, but do good, we're just waiting for the rest of us to catch up. They will.
Yeah. And we're keeping ourselves aligned and vibrating higher if we can do that. And that is a hard thing to do. And I think sometimes that people don't want to talk about some of these things because it gets too dark and depressing. And I can understand that. That's why a lot of people don't watch the news. But sometimes I think it's important. I think it's important because we need to know that we aren't feeling this by ourselves, that we all are here connected by cords, and that, we can get through this together. So. And yes, we had an earthquake here yesterday. We had an earthquake in Washington, and it was the size? It was 4.2, which is no big deal. But my husband felt it. It was up north because he's up there, and he said first earthquake he's ever felt. So I thought that was interesting.
The ones up there are
the big one. Yeah.
Well, the ones up there are very jarring. I was in several of them when I was up there, and one knocked me off my feet. That was when I said, I got to get out of here. But
So you moved to California?
Yeah, but But you know, they have earthquakes all the time, but
That's
it's always, the big one was a rolly one. And I did some research on that, and some tectonic plates are on talc. And I think
yeah.
I'm sitting on talc because it just kind
Okay.
of rolled a
Yes.
little bit.
Yeah,
But up
yeah.
there
You
with
roll. I don't know that
you
I'd
guys,
want to be driving. That's all. I don't want to be driving and have to,
you don't
you know,
feel it.
you
You don't
don't.
feel it when
Oh,
you drive. Mm-mm.
okay. Well, that's good to know. Thank you.
Yeah.
Deborah, thank you, my dear.
It was
Always
fun.
appreciate doing stuff with you. And
Thank
thank you for
you.
everybody in the chat for putting, I know we didn't do any readings today, but thanks for being here and offering your support and your words and everything else.
Oh,
And thank you, moderators, for putting Deborah's information up for other people
yes.
to find her.
Thank you.
So,
Thank you
all
so
right.
much. I love
Thank
it.
you. Bye, everybody.
Love everybody.